Good morning and welcome to this very first episode in 2025. So also a very warm and happy new year to you, and a very special happy new year to my very nice and good friend Patrik from Norway. So good morning, Patrik.
Good morning, Martin. Thank you very much.
So you were a little bit surprised because you thought that we were today just having a talk about some work you have done for some time, but I said, why not make an interview right away? So maybe before we get into this exciting work of what you're doing, maybe tell us a little bit who you are.
Okay, I'm as many others in the industry. I was born into this. My father had a typesetting company in Sweden during the 70s with hot metal technology. And later on, he transformed that into an offset printing company, and I joined him. And he later also moved to his work to Oslo in Norway. So I moved to Oslo, and I was working there in a printing company where we did all kind of different desktop publishing, printing technologies, etc., etc. And then in the 90s, I co-founded Copycat, a printing chain here in Norway, where I spent 25 years.
Only.
And yeah, so, and now the last 3 years I sold out from Copycat and started to think about new projects, and now I'm working with that for 2-3 years now.
We're going to talk about that project in a second. One of the things I would like to ask you about, but before we do so, when you have such a vast experience in the industry, and I guess that you have talked to hundreds, if not thousands, of customers during all these years, is there like a denominator of challenges in how you communicate what a customer wants? Let's say, if I say I want to have gloss paper, then is it really gloss paper or is it semi-gloss paper? And if I want to have something with high densities, all these kind of communications of what a customer wants. Is that something that you have experienced as being a challenge over the years?
Absolutely, that has been a challenge all the time. So, and that's why I'm actually started these new projects of mine, because the industry actually has a challenge when it comes to showcase the products for the end users. And then you have to look at from the end user's perspective, and not many do that, and it's not many solutions either who has that possibility. So it was something I thought was missing in the industry. So,
and I could also think that in, let's say, 20 years ago, where the internet was not as dominant as it is today, working with customers were easier because you met customers in person, right? They could walk into your shop, they could see some samples of what you have done for other customers, say, yeah, something like this or something like this. But today, where people are working remotely and maybe also working through web to print or just sending an email, I guess that communication becomes even more difficult, right?
Absolutely, because a lot of those things disappeared when it went on to the internet, and it's not that easy to show glossy paper or matte paper on a web page, or different kind of embellishment or technologies, etc., etc. So yeah, absolutely.
Then I think we spoke about just before we turned on the recording, like 3-4 years ago. You and I, we started to talk a little bit, and you joined us at our non-event in Copenhagen. And at that time, you had an idea of having, and I think that's still part of your business plan, but at that time you were like quite far of developing or trying to developing a universal purchasing platform for print. What is that true? And what was the basic idea of the platform at the time?
Yeah, that is was the vision and goal, and still are actually. So the new company I started, the name of that is Print.page, and that's the vision of open and transparent marketplace for printed products with multiple vendors. So in that, when it comes to that, I also realized that was a huge task to try to build. So it's not finished yet. It's a little bit. The goal is stretching out in the horizon when you started working in the projects like that. But one of the building blocks actually to make that happen is to have a structure who could be used in a solution like that, or in e-commerce solution. So
And that leads us, of course, forward to what we're going to talk about now, because basically you realized when you started to make the ideas and the vision and development of a universal print platform, then it was like, how do we actually make that as easy as possible to communicate for the buyers, right? And as we spoke about before turning on the camera, it's funny because a lot of the technical solutions out there are often in favor of the PSP or the producer or the manufacturer of things, and not so much focusing on the customer experience. So let's dive into it, because at the non-event this year, and this is I will also make a graphic so to show you, but just there was like a 2-page print that you gave to a lot of people coming to the non-event, and it's difficult to see here, but the first page has a title of Variations in Print and Graphic Products, and the other one I really like that too, because it is like the periodic table of we know from chemistry and physics, where you basically try to organize the entire manufacturing process into building blocks. And I think if we should just make it very simple for people to understand, the building block of a printed project consists of the paper, the ink, the binding, the technology involved with it, and of course the content. And it has way more elements to it. But that was the idea, to build something that resembles something that we already know from our if we remember back from the school days, right?
yeah, and that was actually the case, because I remember when I went to high school and the chemistry teacher gave us this periodic table, and when I was sitting working with try to figure out how to make a structure, because I looked all over if is there a structure anywhere, or is there a solution I could use, but I didn't see any, and then I thought, okay, we have to start with building this structure, this classification. And then I thought it, since we are in the graphic art and printing industry, I thought it has to be visual, and I immediately remembered this periodic table from the school age. So I tried to do the same actually. In the periodic table, you have atoms, hydrogen number one, with atom masses, and in the periodic system from solid and gas, etc. And I thought it could be a good idea to do the same for the printing industry. And instead of the periods, you at least have the start and the end of the manufacturing process. So I try to made different groups and categories, and as you said, it's, for example, one group is technology, where you have the printing technologies and equipment. Another could be configurations, like different formats, like A4 paper size, etc. And then you have embellishment, completions, finishing, etc., etc. And actually why that has to be a structure is and you showed the other side of the of
Yeah,
the
I know it was very briefly because it's such a big sheet in front of a computer, but
yeah.
we will I will put in some photos when I do the edit so people can see what it is about. But it's really smart. So continue, please.
So it's actually when you order something online as a customer, you would like to see actually what kind of products you are ordering. And it's very important. We often call them mock-ups. If you show a mock-up for a product, I think it's very important to actually really show how it looks in both formats, colors, foldings, embellishment, etc., etc. And to be able to do that, there has to be a kind of structure in the back. So I call this two-sided lens view. On one side, you have the industry, and on the other, you have the end users. So it's the manufacturing process versus the ordering process, or the possibilities vs the products. And if we have that, it should also, I think, be something like a common language, a visual approach. So that's why we did it the way we did it, and now we are actually trying to squeeze everything inside this structure.
About to ask because I mean, when you start a project like this, um, I I'm curious about when do you hit the wall or what kind of obstacles? Because I mean, I think that everybody that works in the industry, if you just look at the manufacturing process and you look at all the technical terms that we need and use and talk about when you are on the manufacturing side and on the vendor side compared to on the consumer side. So where in your work, where has the biggest obstacles uh, been very visual to you?
Oh, it's been so many hit in the wall. Has been a long period of testing out things, discussing things with people I knew, a lot of thinking actually, and this idea of making it as a periodic table, it doesn't just came like that. It was 2 years of different approaches and thinking and working, and it's been a big challenge actually. But now I think we have something that we could work on, and the first edition of it we launched in June in last year. We have to remember to say last year now because it's New Year of a new year now, and that was just actually a design piece. It was a static design, and I posted that on the internet and shared it on LinkedIn groups, and I got a lot of feedback that people wanted it. And then I thought, okay, we can continue this visual work, and now we have to do it more interactive. So it's because this cannot be static, it has to be non-static, it has to be a
Mm.
living organism.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah,
s-
because I was also thinking that one of the things that I was seeing when I saw it, and when you say interactive, I thought that it could be great that sometimes if I mean I know today you can do embellishment on uncoated paper, but a year ago it was not as an option easily, at least, right? So if you click on uncoated paper, the result could be that a lot of the tiles are turned off because that it does become like an option anymore, right? So also from a user perspective, and I was also thinking, and maybe you have already done that. I was just thinking that I showed you our new book with Adam Size here. Have you tried to take that book and reversed it so you can see what kind of elements does this apply to when you see finished products?
Absolutely, we have done
Hundreds of times, right?
yeah. So and that's very interesting because if you take products like business card or catalogs or roll-ups or 3D printed objects, it's nice then to see how this structure actually can be identified, and it can be used in like in a dynamic database for an e-commerce solution. So that's what we are actually working with now.
So, Patrick, working on this for some years now and still having the goal of Print.page, I guess that this is just part of where this is leading to when you do Print.page, because you need to have that structure. I know that you also spoke to Pretty United, because they have also been working on some kind of taxonomy system, but I think they have it from a different perspective than yours. So it's not because I want to talk too much about that system. I have a long episode with David Swang and Marco Boer about that. But I was just curious. So let's say that today we're finished with the PTPGE, and then basically now it's going to work. How will people use it? I mean, what is how do you see it implemented in real life?
At this point, it's what I call edition 2, which was launched now in November, which also has the whole structure, an interactive map if you go into the web page. And now it's just more like a presentation of the industry, so that people could maybe get an understanding of what's inside the industry, what's the possibilities, technologies, embellishment, etc., etc. The next version, which we are working on right now, actually, we hope to implement functionality so that you can click on different elements, and as you said, it could be like a search filter. So if you click on some elements, then it's connected to another, and that's going to be very exciting. And also, this will be, of course, then used in Print.page in the building of a marketplace. So we have a lot of buildings to do. I would say that we, in a way, we now have a recipe. We know this, or at least we think that we know how we could do this, but we still lack the solutions. So we have to use the coming year, and actually me and my co-founder has now set a 3 years frame for this work. So we will start working with this actually next week already.
Okay, and defining a standard, of course, also requires acceptance from others. And I guess that when you go to trade shows, when you participate in events like ours in Copenhagen and things like that, what is the feedback from the industry? Is it something where people can see, okay, this makes sense, and this is something that could be interesting to collaborate with you on?
It's a little bit of everything, actually. Somebody maybe not understand it, and can't see the use of it, but somebody is absolutely see the use of it. And I had a lot of good feedbacks from our meetings at the non-events, where people realized that this is actually something in this which was missing in the industry, and this could help us actually to showcase the whole industry to the end users. It could also be used for educational purpose. We have started an advisory board, actually, and one of the members there are a teacher from Sweden, and it will be very interesting to see if he could use this together with his students, and if it could benefit them in any way. So
I was thinking when you talked about it, I thought that it could actually be quite great if, when I order something an online shop, that the building elements would already be visually attached to it. Maybe you cannot select from it, but to show it in existing web shops, because it will be a guidance to the users of what they are actually ordering. I thought that could be great. I was also thinking that on INKISH we have about 39,000 newsletter subscribers. For majority of these are PSPs and converters globally. And I was thinking that this database of users could be interesting to actually say that, okay, a starting point could say what kind of technologies do they support. So basically also the end user at some point can be able to say that I need somebody who could do, some kind of specialty binding or something, and then use it the other way around also to find vendors or suppliers that are able to accommodate the technologies they want. I think that could also, at least I'm just seeing this as like an opportunity also to search and find the right suppliers.
Absolutely. And the end users, they are actually demanding things like that. They wanted to know where things are produced, how it's produced, and what the possibilities are. So in this structure, there are. Or let me also say one thing. It's very important also for us to say that we are not actually making a standard. We are gathering standards from the industry, so that people can use it in their daily work. But if you are an end user and you would like to buy something, you are aware of sustainability, you would like to know that product has to have eco-friendly paper, or that's something which is important, that they have to be able to choose that, not only the vendor or the location, but also certifications and different product types, etc., etc. And this is then possible maybe to gather in the future e-commerce solutions. That's our goal. Yeah.
You're right that you're not implying that you're doing creating a new standard. When I was talking about standard, is like the standardization of putting things into a periodic table, is trying to identify the process, and also you have abbreviations for each of the processes. And I'm just saying that if these, let's say, abbreviations could be standardized and used among a lot of people, then of course the buying process for all people would be much easier to comply to. So I know that you're not trying to make a new color standard or a new environmental standard or something like that, but I think what you're doing is a kind of standardization for how a process can be described. So pardon that I was not completely right.
It's we could call it a standard of classification.
Yes, that makes sense. So if people want to get involved, how do they do that? And are you interested in people getting involved?
Absolutely. Since we actually published this on the internet, we are asking to people to join, or organizations or companies to join as a collaborative partner. So you could go onto our websites at PTPGE.org, and there is a contact button, and so we will welcome everybody who would like to join and drive the innovation in the industry forward. And if we can collaborate, I think it's a great opportunity for the whole industry.
Patrik, as always, interesting talking to you, and I just want to thank you very much for being my first guest here in the new year. Always interesting to talk to you, as I said, and also I think that this project is something that many people should look into. I think it can make your customers' lives easier. I think it also gives us new opportunities of rethinking your own, let's say, workflow and models. So maybe it opens up for new thinking within your companies as well. So a warm recommendation to reach out to Patrik and his team to get further information about PTPGE, which is short for the periodic table of print and graphic elements. So it's the abbreviation of the name of the website. It does mean something. It's not like some funny Norwegian word, right? Fantastic. But again, thank you very much, Patrik, and I wish you all the best with the PTPGE, and I look forward to see you in person again at some point, and all the best.
Thank you very much, Morten, for having me. And another thing, remember that the posters you showed here is available to download from the website. So let's go.
So you can make them, so you can print them even bigger if you like. Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, but all the best, my friend.
Thanks to you. Bye.
Bye.